I have got in front of me a box of Flamey's old things, and I haven't looked at these since Flamey died. So when he died, his cage, for a little while I couldn't bring myself to take it apart, and then it got to the point where it was too weird having it, because every time I walked past the cage I was like expecting to see him, and so I put it away, but I wasn't really ready to put it away. So a lot of what happened was me just kind of dumping anything, like putting anything in the bin that made sense, like directly at the time, like the cork log that he'd peed in tons of times, all of his bedding, like all of that was never going to be used, so it just went in the bin. And then stuff that I was kind of like, I need to make a decision about this at some point in the future as to whether I can reuse it or not, went in a box. And that is the box that's sat in front of me. It'd be interesting to talk about, you know, how to prepare stuff that you've already used with one hamster for another. So the first thing is these bendy bridges. So I had a couple of these, and I think this is fine. He's not, there's no chew marks on it, and I think that's the big thing that I'm going to be looking for, is like, has it got a lot of chew marks on it? Has it been peed on? And ways to make it safe again. So this bendy bridge looks absolutely fine. I'll probably reuse this, and to make it safe I'll probably give it a clean in the same way that I would a cork log. So just wash it with a mild dish soap and then put it in the oven, because it is made of wood, so it can take that, and that'll cleanse it ready. Sand scoops, these can probably just be put in the dishwasher, because you know, they don't get chewed or played with, they're just there to help clean out the sand. But I actually really rate these for cleaning out the sand. I know they're like just cheap tat from online, but they're actually super useful, and I had several of them like dotted around. This glass thing, again, could probably go in the dishwasher and be reused. This got used for all kinds of stuff, soil, sand, that sort of thing. Bamboo rings, I'm actually going to throw these away. Bamboo is naturally like antiseptic, naturally, but I probably could wash it and bake it in the oven. But I know that a lot of the time these bamboo rings, like, Flamey just didn't care about them, because they were, there's nothing, you know, he just wasn't a chewer in that sense. But a lot of the time they ended up in his burrows or places that I feel like they will have soaked up pee and stuff, and I'm just not confident that I can fully clean it enough for another hamster. And I think probably a lot of Flamey's smell is like infused in here. The other thing is that I actually stopped using these towards the end of Flamey's lifetime, and the reason for that being that for all people talk about these being unsafe, like I had visions of Flamey getting like his head stuck in here if he was like, you know, putting his head in there. So to me, I actually felt that they were slightly less safe. So it's probably not a chew toy I'm gonna replace. Plastic tub was used for soil. It's got like a little hole in it there, and I put tape on it and then stuck paper bedding to it. This was sunk into his bedding so that you could easily get in and out of the soil. I will be washing this and reusing it, and I'll probably take this off and replace it with a fresh one. It was a fine box, it's rigid plastic, it's not really been chewed or anything, but it's because it's rigid plastic, I feel like it's fine to use with a hamster, and it's kind of hygienic. So yeah, I should be washing it and using it again. Wicker ball, Flamey never used it, didn't really like it. I think it's probably more for rabbits. I'll probably put it somewhere, but it'll probably be more of a decoration than a chew toy. If the new hamster does enjoy chewing stuff that isn't food, this will be a winner. Flamey's old slates. Some of these are still kind of dirty, where he's had like food on them and sand. As I said, I didn't clean anything, I just put everything in this box. These were some of the early slates I had for the shop, and they were sort of different sizes and stuff, and I really like these ones. So these are easy to clean, exactly the same as sort of wooden stuff. I'm going to wash them with a mild dish soap. I'm going to leave them to dry and then probably put them in the oven for a little bit, just to make sure that there's nothing insidious hiding in there, because some of these have had food on as well. But yeah, I'll definitely be reusing the slates. Wooden shelves. These shelves are actually, I've heard conflicting stuff about them. Like stuff that looks like this, that has this kind of like dark outer on it, I've heard is not hamster safe because it's soft wood. When I bought these, I was aware of the different types of wood that were and weren't safe. I don't remember where I got these from or what wood they're made from, but I know 100% that when I bought these, I would have researched. I wouldn't have bought them if I hadn't known that they were safe, or made of a safe wood. But also, this shelf was never something that Flamey was able to go on, if you see what I mean. This shelf used to be in his cage and he had a hide on top of it, and there was a tunnel leading into it, so he never really got to the outside because it was suspended in his cage. I am probably going to keep this, but I'm probably not going to use it in the cage. I'm going to keep it as a just in case sort of thing. There's no real reason to throw away. It's sound, it's not been bitten or peed on or anything like that. It's probably not going to be suitable for this cage because these go in bars and I don't have bars, but it might be suitable for maybe a playpen or something like that. This is Flamey's swing and he loved it. It was like his favourite thing. The amount of times he just sat on here. He loved movement. He just really loved any kind of movement. Used to just sit in his wheel just for fun. But he always used to like running across this or just sitting on it. There were some sprays in his cage like leading up to it, and he used to sit on here and munch the sprays, and sometimes you could see him literally moving himself. I absolutely will be using this with a new hamster because I couldn't not really. I know that Flamey's used it quite a bit, but he's never chewed it or peed on it. Like, it's in great condition. It's just, and I know that it's natural wood, it's birch wood. I double checked with the seller when I bought it, and it was made specially for Flamey. What I'm going to do to make it safe is I am going to give it a light clean just on the top and the bottom, just because Flamey did use it. And then I'm going to remove the twine and I'm going to just bake this part of the log. Once it's baked and it's ready, I'll put new twine in. So I've got chemical free jute twine which I'll use, and I'll be able to make it slightly longer so it can reach the top of the cage. This is definitely going to be reused. Flamey's little house. I bought this from a garden centre. It's a tea light holder. But it was actually just quite cute, and it has got gaps on the inside, and I used to stuff these with paper so that his toes couldn't get stuck. It just is really adorable, and it's a nice little place to sit, and that provides cover. So this could probably just go in the dishwasher because it's ceramic. Grapevine wood. Flamey had a little forest area, and he had these grapevines in, and forage and all kinds of stuff in there. It's like a little tiny forest, and I absolutely put so much time and effort and energy into making this thing. Like, when I first got it, it was super gnarly, and there were so many bits on there that were like sticking out and sharp and stuff. So I actually cut little bits off it. I sanded it for days and days and days, until it was really, really smooth. So I'm actually really pleased with the job I did on this. And you know, when I first bought it, I washed it and baked it, so I know that it's fine in the oven. Flamey hasn't chewed it, hasn't really peed on it. He didn't really interact with it that much. He climbed on it once or twice, but when I introduced this, he was slightly older, so it was maybe just not the right time. So I will be using this again, and what I'll probably do, as you can see, there's lots of moss stuffed in cracks and things, so I'll probably remove all the moss, clean it, bake it, and then put new moss in, just to make sure that it's safe. Squirrel chew. This needs to be thrown away. So Flamey never chewed it. I actually really like it. I think it's really aesthetic, it's really cute. But the reason it's being thrown away is because I tried quite a few different things to try and make him chew it, and one of those was soaking it in like fruit infused water. So I think just on the basis of hygiene, it's probably better to be thrown away. And finally, there's this carrot thing. It's made out of like either palm leaves or seagrass. It feels like palm leaves. I'll probably give this a wash and a bake and see if it comes out okay. It's meant to be a chew toy. Flamey never showed much interest in it. New Hamster might do. So I'm going to bake it and see how it turns out. And I just think it could be something like super cute for the cage, even if the hamster's not really interested. And just sort of add to the general clutter. These are all the wooden things that I've cleaned. I thought I'll do them in 2 sort of goes. So to give you an idea, these aren't like sopping wet. I've just rinsed them all off just to make sure that if there's any like scent left over from Flamey, that we're getting rid of that. I've just used this because it's mild, and I've washed everything just really gently, and then I've rinsed it to make sure that there's very little of this left on it. So now that these are ready, I'm going to pop them into the oven to dry and just to get rid of any bacteria that might be on them. When you put them in the oven, it doesn't matter too much if they're kind of stacked on top of each other like this, as long as there's enough space for like air to kind of get around it. And we're just going to pop these in on 100 degrees for just over an hour. And here's the next batch. So these ones aren't going to get baked, they've just been washed, again using the same washing up liquid, and they've then been rinsed to make sure that there's no soap left on them. So these slates I'm probably going to bake as well, because they, you know, whilst they're clean on the outside, slate is quite an absorbent material, so it might be absorbing anything into the top layer. So I'm just going to bake them just to make sure that there's nothing bad on them. Everything else has been washed, and I'm going to dry it and leave it by my cage.